SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, welcome to this 29th session of Ergonomics for Beginners Industrial Design Perspective. Today's module, visual issues within the two specific classes. Class number 28, last time we have discussed some basics of visual performances, and today's session is a class number 29, the visual displays and relevant issues. In the last class, we have discussed the people differ greatly in the intensity with which they react to sensory data, that is specifically the visual information. There we have discussed, just to recollect, the seeing, the visual system, the eye structure and eye matter we have discussed. Then visual field, accommodation, distant object, near vision, near and far point, age and accommodation, presbyopia, speed and accuracy of accommodation, brightness and its effect on vision, adaptation, that is darkness and lightness. So, with this we would like to see some of the relevant ergonomics issues towards our vision relevant performance. Now, so today's session, class number 29, concentrates on visual display, that is the performance. Now, some of the facts we would like to discuss today, that one aspect is that tremor. To fix eye to an object of interest, several external eye muscles are involved. Those eye muscles are holding the eyeball in that place. So, their movement it focuses. Eyeball keeps continuous movement, it is not fixed, or which keep retinal image in little motion. This tremor helps to perceive image refrain from fading away. Means when we see some of the interest object, our eye moves on that to get the total feeling. As for example, this action may be compared with like it is a similar experience of when a hand is placed on a rough surface. When we placed on our hand on a rough surface, but unless the hand and fingers are moved on this, then we cannot feel the roughness of this surface. So, to get the full visual effect, the eye moves frequently while focusing on some object of interest for vision. So, we can say that unless the hand is and fingers are moved on it, means the rough surface, front and back, the roughness of the surface texture is felt. Similarly, eye also does. Now, another point that convergence and divergence. Convergence and divergence, if we see, the thing is that when we want to focus on a near object, our eyeball comes nearer to focus that close. When we focus on a distant object, so our eyeball remains as much as parallel, but sometimes when we try to see the peripheral object in my visual field, I tends to go in a divergence mode. So, depending on the visual field depth, both the eyes behaves like this. Now, another aspect we can say that the speed versus visual attention. Now, perhaps when we drive a car or drive a motorbike, when our speed is very slow, I tend to see in distant or in various objects that is not very center at both the sides, I can feel it to see. But when speed increases, our focus goes towards the center of the road. So, when you in a speed, then we cannot concentrate or we cannot focus or we cannot see objects that is in the periphery area. So, the speed and visual attention has this relationship. Now, in any design where these things are necessary to be practiced, this relationship we must appreciate and we consider it. Now, line of vision. When we concentrate on some object, then from the eye height, a straight line if we draw, this is the horizontal line of sight, this one horizontal line of sight. But we cannot look at this position. So, mostly what's happened, either we see little below than that horizontal line of sight, around 5 degree below, that our eye feels comfort, or if we have to guess that instead of making only eyeballs move up, it is normally our chin goes up, head tilted little back, so eyeball comes little in a comfortable position to maintain that 5 degree inclination from that horizontal line of sight. That below 5 degree inclination, this is called normal line of sight. So, if we can keep all the important visual items at our eye height level, it should be below 5 degree, that is the normal line of sight. Now, how we can see an object? When we are seeing this object, so some light is coming to me, so I can see that, but in the same line of sight, if another bright or more intense light source is there, then our eye draws attention to that high intensity light source. So, whatever the lower light intensity object I want to see, that becomes invisible or blur. So, this is the one kind of effect that is called glare effect, and as I cannot see that object of interest clearly for the presence of a brighter or a high intensity light source in that same plane, it is disability glare. So, like in this figure, if we see, there is a heavy light source, and if I want to see something this here, then this becomes blur or I cannot see it properly. because this is the high intensity light source is getting my attention. Now, another item is that in this case, in this figure, I can see whatever written material is here on this board, but in this area there is some reflection of some other light sources present just opposite side. Means somewhere from opposite side light is falling on it and then it reflects to me, but still I can read and I read all the things what are mentioned here, but this glare it gives me discomfort. So, this type of secondary glare is called discomfort glare. So, this discomfort glare depends on the location of light sources in the ambience. So, now the glare is direct glare, that is disability glare, and indirect glare that is discomfort glare. Now, the thing is that when a person is standing or sitting is eye height, and now at this same line, if I want to see this object and a very high intensity light source is there. So, from here to almost around 45 angle, if this high intensity light source is there, it gives you the disability glare effect, though it gradually reduces, and from here till 90 it becomes very less or no kind of thing. But the back side is also same, and back side also from this 45 angle here, what happens if any heavy light source is there. So, it may come in this and then can reflect to the same line of sight. So, in the back side also this 45 angle, it is better to avoid high intensity light sources installation. So, this is that direct or disability glare. Now, discomfort glare is that also both the sides. Now, if we keep some of the high intensity light source that reflects that falls on the surface and then it reflects to our eye, it gives you that discomfort glare, but this glare also affects or its intensity increases or recedes when if we use the surface matte finish or glossy finish. Obviously, matte finish it will be less. Now, another item comes that how the shadow effect of the light. Now, shadow effect of light, if we see the light sources, if there is an incandescent bulb, then it gives your direct light to the object and then it can create a shadow. It can shadow, it gives a hot feeling, etc. like that. So, this is the direct light source, incandescent lamp type. Another light source we can say that some diffused lamp side. It may be tube type of lamp, tubular lamp, or maybe different type of compact lamps or something that has some coating inside, and the whatever light is being created here, it reflects and it gives you a diffused lighting. So, in this diffused lighting, the shadow element is relatively less, and then it also gives a cool effect to the eyes. So, apart from this, another light source mostly we can experience in some cinema halls, theatre halls, or maybe in restaurants. Like in this room, if we are sitting like this way for a inside, then a light source from this wall, it becomes, so this is a wall like this. So, here if we have a light source, then no light is coming directly to the inside, but the light reflects, goes to the ceiling, and from there it reflects. So, the intensity reduces the reflection and it does not provide any shadow kind of thing and then it also gives a soothing effect. So, this type of indirect lighting system is also there. So, the glare and light installations like this, it creates an ambience for good or for context specific work requirement, it can create. An ambience can be created. Now, when we see some of the object like that, the select a sloping work surface for reading tasks and etc. Like in this case, now in this person, from the normal line of sight around 30 degree up without moving head or eye, one can feel the presence of some object or some even can color also, and the below also normally it is 30, but it still goes till 45 degree from the normal line of sight, and both the sides also 30 degree at roughly it can be said. So, this area is the normal visual field. So, in this case visual field, if I see like this, so this is the normal line of sight, this is the surface area. So, from here above the 30 degree and below 30 degree, and it may go extend till 45 degree normally. So, 30 degree and below 45 degree. So, roughly it can be said that this is 30 degree above head and below head around 45 degree is the normal visual field from top and bottom side. This is till where this 45 degree angle matches with the floor level, like that. So, and another thing that this is for seeing, but now some tasks, while doing some task, we may need to concentrate on something to read and write. In that case, in tasks requiring no manual task, there around 45 degree angle here it can be given, this slope can be given, so that it will be easier to read, and viewing manual work, where manual work is necessary, it may go around 15 degree kind of thing. So, this not only for the handling part with the operation, also it eases our vision. Now, for the both eyes, now different color has different color angles, like when we see, suppose we are sitting in a comfortable position. Now, without changing eye movement or head, if head is fixed and eye also fixed, if I bring some object, colored object, then when we are bringing to the closer to my eyes, somewhere we can feel the presence of an object, but we cannot recognize the color. When it comes little closer, then we can see the color presence. So, if we identify the color, then we can say that in this plane at this angle I can perceive the object and I can perceive the specific color. So, now at different plane also we can feel like that way. So, accordingly a special visual field for that color will appear. So, it is normally said that for red color it is around 30 degree, and for white color it is for the both eyes, this is around both the sides, it is around 150 degree, but at around 180 degree one can feel the presence of some object. So, it can be said that for both the side from this nasal point, red has around 60 degree and white has around 150 degree, like that. So, accordingly different color has different color angles in sideways and also up and down with this thing. So, here in this figure it can be seen such an example is given here. So, green, red, yellow, blue, white and etc. like that. So, this is that one eye that we are showing here on left eye. So, accordingly in this position also that right eye also we can keep it. So, like that way. So, different color angles and so when it overlaps it gives you a total field. Now, the vision and magnifying system. Now, visual and communicational clearances. Now, a clear visibility and there should not be pain at neck. So, vision and neck matter we can say that suppose a doctor is checking, a dental physician is checking a patient. Now, here the goal is that for this task improve the neck position, for this neck bending is improved, the posture needs to be improved and provide clear vision. So, like this way. So, in this clear vision, so while seeing the all others area evenly, but still to focus on something he requires some kind of magnifying. In this case also the similar cases, what are the considerations? Here the working distance, depth of field, declination angle, convergence angle, magnification factor and lighting needs all are to be considered. So, depending on this varieties of spectacles with magnifying attachment available in market. So, a special development can also be looked into this type of requirements. Means not only the special specs of the bifocal spectacle or something like that, it may have some specific thing where we can decrease or increase the magnifying as a specific requirement. Now, we will see some of the aspect of display, the eye height in a standing position or in a sitting position, eye height and the varieties of light sources that affect our vision. And obviously, if vision is good, then our performance will also be improved. One example, this is an exhibition entrance where some of the displays are shown here, like Department of Design, presentation of students projects, the theme of this thing is luxury, etc. So, from a distance we must see and we go, but the viewing distance has to be considered, like if we see the total place, then what happens? If we need to go like this in this position, go from here like this way, then when we come from this distance, then how much is visible. So, the display and the distance has some relationship, whether some obstacle is in between and how it is creating obstacle. Means what would be the population flow towards that object of vision, that requires to be considered. So, relation between viewing distance and object of attention has to be maintained and studied properly, because it is, we cannot say that it should be governed with by a thumb rule type of situation. In this case, when this is a shop for different visuals items are there, like visiting cards and some other things are there. So, suppose a person is standing here, he wants to handle something. Then now, as he goes up, so then this distance increases, arm distance as well as the visual distance also increases. So, he needs to bend forward to get a good view. Now, instead of that thing, possibility we may give a facility for this person to bend, means to reach, or this arrangement we may have a like this type of curvature, instead of this curvature we may have a this curvature, so that the distance wise also will be same and vision consistency could be maintained. So, for the visual display etc., this type of arrangement one can consider. Now, another object, this is in a vertical plane we need to see and operate. So, everything is visible like this. Now, it gives a it creates an ambience. Now, thing comes visual and communicational clearance. Earlier we said that from this vision point around 30 degree up one can see without much changing head, and below 45 degree, and that should be within one arm's reach distance. This thing can be considered. As for example, we can say that this is one exhibition area. Now, roughly we can say if this is 1, then this may be the 2 unit kind of thing, or we can be said that 1 by 3, 1 by 3 and 2 by 3rd like this. So, 30 degree and 45 degree we can divide like this roughly. So, if this is a product of interest, we want to exhibit it from the eye height, this may be around 30 degree up and this may be 45 degree below. So, from this point this may be placed around, this is at 1/3 up this position and below 2/3 below this position it can be placed. So, the person can move around and can get the good view and also can touch. So, for different eye heights and etc., this may be considered, and after doing this, this stand dimension can be fixed. Now, another thing is that suppose there is a wall in front of him and then I want to see, suppose this is a wall, closed wall. So, this is the visual area we want to see something here. Now, for whom eye height we should consider? If a tall person comes at 95th percentile eye height, for him this will be the 30 degree position and this will be the 45 degree position below the lines. So, for him this area is the good area. So, he can see this area, but if a middle height person comes, 50th percentile eye height person comes, for him this is the 30 degree and this is the 45 degree like this. So, what happens? This upper it is within his view, but below a portion is being cut here, he cannot see like this way, because it is closed here. So, then what happens? We can say that the total clearance will be till here. So, that a tall height person as well as average height person can see the both the things. If a lower height person, that is suppose 5th percentile eye height person comes, for him also this is the 30 degree upper vision. So, it reaches here and below is the 45 degree here, it is his lower vision. So, then he also cannot see this much space because it is being covered here. So, for him we can say that this upper this one and this one would be better. So, considering for 3 different height persons, if we have from here to till this level, then this area will make all the type of people to get clear vision and like that. So, then as we increase the distance from the eye, this will be more. When it comes closer, then this distance will be, this opening will be less. So, this principle it can be applied while making any kind of visual screen or something like that. It may be in car or in somewhere else. Now, the workplace or workstation as assembly comprising display screen like that, normal that work screen, equipment, display screen like that. whether provide some software or something like that, a keyboard and etc. Any optional accessories to the display screen equipment, any disk drive, telephone, modem, printer, document holder, work chair, work desk, work surface or other than peripheral to the display screen equipment, all are required to get that workstation. The immediate environment around and display screen equipment, all these things concern the workstation. Now, if we see the illumination level in a workplace, so workstation is that the person and the work equipment at his surroundings, so that he can touch and can get attention as and whenever required, and the space within that, this is that workstation. So, similar workstation, if we multiply with the links in between the workstations, that becomes the workspace and workplace accordingly when it increases. Now, for general purpose, if in to create a common ambience, the illumination should be even, that is the general lighting. General lighting that is shown in this figure. And another thing is that with this general lighting, if a person requires to concentrate on some work area, then he has to get some kind of special localized light sources, so that it can give him more intense light for specific requirement. Now, for this, whether this light will be incandescent lamp type or some kind of diffused lamp type of thing, it needs as its requirement. Normally, what happens? Yes, incandescent lamp provides shadow. Now, whether the shadow is necessary to complete the task or not. Like when we see a meter reading the needle and its shadow, it should match together to give a proper reading. In such cases, the shadow is necessary, but when we require to have an even lighting, but still localized, there the diffused lighting lamp system should be better. Now, another point comes, to create a general illumination, whether a heavy intensity light source, single or less in number should be there, or there would be many the light installations with lower intensity lamps, that is a question. Now, it is found that to create an object, create an even lighting source, low intensity power lamps, but many in number is preferable than a single heavy intensity light source. Now, another thing comes that light distribution in a workplace. Now, in a specific place or in a specific space where you are working, whatever light is present or light intensity is required to perform a task. So, from ceiling, walls, floor, furniture and the object of interest, how much light should reflect to me to have a balanced ambience. It is seen that and each and every color also has specific reflectance value, like different, suppose how we can see a red color red, because all the light sources are falling on it, most of the other color lights rays are being absorbed, in layman we can say it, and then the red light, as it is not being absorbed there, it comes to my eye, so I can see it. So, how much light totally falls on the surface and how much is reflecting, that is the reflectance value of that thing, like that. So, simply we can say that from a ceiling, or if this is a room, from the ceiling around 80 to 90% of the total light should reflect these walls around 40 to 60% light should reflect. If there is any furniture, so then from this furniture around 25 to 45% should reflect. And if there is any work equipment, any work equipment kind of thing like that, so it should reflect around 30 to 50%, and then this floor, it should have around 20 to 40%. Now, one question comes, why this flooring needs 20 to 40%? There is a common psychology is that if the floor is too much lighted, then we may not feel comfortable while walking on it. It gives a pseudo falling tendency kind of thing, or we may not feel that our foot is well placed or well grabbed on the floor, because we must feel that normally it is said that it may be a psychological thing that the lightness in color, it also gives a lightness in weight feeling. So, when the floor becomes little dark, then we also feel that yes, it is wet. So, we can have a strong foothold on that. It may be a psychological implication. So, now its practical application or practical experience, we can say that in some temples nowadays or some special housing also, they have the very glossy and very high intensity light reflectance colors they are using. So, there while walking on that, it gives a little uncomfort. Instead of that, any greyish type of flooring, it gives you comfort while walking. So, now, the light position and visual comfort also we need to consider. Now, how we can make this arrangement of reflectance? Now, if we use some color, varieties of different colors has different reflectance value. Accordingly, if the colors are used, it will be better. Like white color, it has around 80 to 90% reflectance. So, if on that ceiling, if we use that, obviously it will reflect that type of color, that type of light. So, this type of application. Another application is that whether we need to have presence feeling or not. Suppose this is a dwelling house. In this dwelling house, if there is a pillar in between, we are quite aware of that pillar. We do not want to see it. I want to avoid its presence. Then some cool color, like if we see the Vibgeo range, then blue, green, that type of color can be used, or maybe cool color combinations can be used on that, and maybe some floral paintings and etc. it should be used, so that it gives you some soothing feeling and we can avoid its presence. But the same thing in a shopping mall or in a public place somewhere, there that pillar, it needs to draw your attention, otherwise some accident may happen. There red, yellow, orange, that type of color, or maybe some kind of combination of that can be used, so that it should draw your attention about its presence. So, the application of color and then visual perception and visual preferences, and accordingly your work activity, it has all relation like this. So, this needs to be considered. So, light position and visual comfort we need to consider, and then better to use few low power lamps than a single high power one is always preferable. Now, if we see the specific, a sitting and posture for typical office task. If this is a specific work area, work posture, here we can say that what things are there. So, one, that is that the sitting back adjustable. Number 2 is that good lumbar support here. This seat height adjustability, this one seat height adjustability, no excess pressure on underside of thigh and back knees, that is number 4 here, this portion, foot support if it is required, then space for postural change, no obstacle under desk, this free leg room, and then forearm approximately horizontal, forearm has to be this one approximately horizontal to the floor and the work surface. Then minimal extension, flexion and deviation of wrist, this facility to be provided. Number 9, the screen height and angle should allow comfortable head position, this screen height like this. So, in this case that visual angle and visual field should be considered, and then space in front of keyboard to support hands and wrist during pauses in keys. This area is also necessary to consider. So, while making all these things, not only the physical dimensions, but the visual clearance and etc. visual, it requires to be considered. Now, from this again we can say that a typical design workstation and layout. Like in this case, we can say that number 1 is that adequate lighting sources, number 2 is that localized light source, adequate contrast, no glare and distracting reflections, number 3 is that distracting noise minimized, number 3 this printer etc. Number 4 is that leg room clearance to allow all these things, number 4 this region. Number 5 is that window covering. Why this window covering is there? Because while seeing this computer, there may be some kind of glare effect on to the eye, glare effect to the eye. So, this blind and etc. it needs to be considered. Number 6, the software and etc. the how we are working. The software appropriate to task adapted to user provides feedback on system status, no undisclosed monitoring. So, the clear vision should be here. Then screen stable image, adjustable, readable, glare and reflectance free necessary. Number 8, that keyboard and etc. keyboard usable, adjustable, detachable, legible. Then number 9 is that work surface, this one, this tabletop surface, work surface allows flexible arrangements, spacious, flare free. Number 10 is that chair height adjustable, that is backrest adjustability, and the footrest, and the footrest if it is necessary it can be provided. Now, in this the two things from visual importance, visual issues is that one is this one, that window that may create some kind of glare effect when we are working on the computer, otherwise computer screen, otherwise it may be open to give a natural light source. Now, this lamp etc. it should be placed in such a way that it does not give any discomfort glare to the eyes. Another point is that this localized lighting system, it has to be always, if this is the eye of a person, then the lamp should, suppose if this is a lamp, it gives it direct glare. So, the shadow or something it should be in such a way that no light should fall on directly to the eye, it should fall only on the object of interest only. So, like that height has to be adjusted. Another thing is that when we read or something, if we keep a light source towards me, then what happens? The direct light reflecting from the pages it come to me, it may give some kind of uneasy glare. So, it is always preferable that if we can keep the light source from the some angle, so that main light will fall on it, the main reflection will go away, but secondary reflection it comes to my eyes, I can read it with smoothness. So, these are the some of the aspect of lighting positions and sources one need to consider. Now, another point we can say that this is though in next classes we will discuss this in details, but now here we are just telling that the counter, the fitting task or design to man in work and rest, the visual and communicational clearance. Like in this type of cases, we can see that the counter person and then the visitors, they need to maintain the eye contact. So, while making the eye contact, what would be the specific features? Now, mostly we can say that just if we see, now in this case there are some specific cases that if we see this area, in certain counters this is totally closed and only one small opening is given. So, here what happens, it is very difficult to speak and only pushing the hand one can operate through this. So, it has a little problem. So, we can say this type of design may not be suitable. Then we can say in this case that okay, have a two holes. So, this hole for visual about speaking kind of thing, and you can see through this because it is a glass and we can open it. Then it comes that whether it is a tall height person, middle height person or a short height person whose face height it is there. So, though it is good, then the tall person he has to bend and speak like this way, and the short person he has to do like this way, or short person will use this lower one together to do like this way, this type of atmosphere. So, it may be possible, but it is not very good. Then second thing comes, if we can make a arrangement of like this. So, this is the glass and have a cutout like this, so that a different height people can face. So, a tall height person can face here, middle height person can face here, and short height person can face here and can operate through this. It apparently it looks nice, but another thing is that there may be some nuisance, because this much cutout anyone can keep their hand inside without any resistance. So, that may not be possible also. So, then another thing comes, whether this would be possible. Now, one question comes, perhaps when you are standing on a railway booking counter, normally what happens, the person stand on the counter, he is talking to the counter person, and then the computer screen is kept towards the computer person and he is checking, and then this person he also still wishes to see through this window whether what is happening there in that computer screen. So, when that dealing is going on, the second person he is getting ready psychologically, and so how to counteract this. When his turn comes, he from the side he is trying to see what is happening inside, and the third person behind he also gets, but not through this, he tries to see from some other positions like this. So, mostly what when a queue like this, so the three persons at near the counter they have this type of behavior. Now, with this, to maintain that behavior, we can have one idea that if we can have, so to cut out to this thing, so one can have a face and then stoppage here, and then this is a handle. So, this may be possible, but still what happens, to handle this situation, if we can have a cutout like this way, where what happens, by automatic natural selection, the tall person will stand somewhere here, middle person will stand from here, short person may stand from here, but they can operate through this hole. So, whether with this normal selection they can select according to that cutout. This is one just idea, it needs to be practiced. So, by this we can say that not only the visual touch, visual connection, the motor connection, the work connection, as well as our behavior, it all needs to be considered while making a design application. So, these are the some of the thoughts. If we think in this line, then a good solution may come up. So, with this, so today we have finished the normal visual issues, and some of the points whatever we have raised in this, like in the last slide whatever we are discussing about this counter matter, we will discuss in next pages like specific designs when we will discuss. So, the next module, the module number 7, we should proceed from here, that is that environmental factors, heat, humidity, ventilation, etc., vibration, and how it affects our performance and how it can be applied in design activities, so that we can get maximum benefit out of these applications. So, till then, thank you very much. So, next we will see. Thank you.